going to get on to the opening match of the main card. It is an 8-man tag. It is Kushida, Kevin Knight, the DKC, and Volador Jr. taking on Josh Alexander, Rocky Romero, Mascara Dorada, and Adrian Quest. Now, this match was all about furthering 2 storylines.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I took it. It's Volador Jr. and Rocky Romero over that CMLL Junior Championship, Cruiserweight Championship.
World Championship, isn't it?
No, it's a Cruiserweight. The World Championship's like El Vikingo or whatever. No, that's AAA. But no, this is like the Cruiserweight or something. I don't think it's the World. I think it's the Cruiserweight. I think it's like
if you look at the size of Volador, I mean, it's very hard for me to figure out what division he's in because the guy's jacked, like huge.
But he's not tall, so he's like
he's not Josh Alexander tall.
He's not Taiji Ishimori short though. But
no, he's definitely got at least half a head on Rocky. But you're absolutely right. That was one of the major stories being highlighted in this one. Rocky's really coming off as a heel.
Rocky's a dick.
Yeah, like I'm used to seeing him as like the best friends and high five and Roppongi fights and whatever.
Sorry,
and he's out here acting like the biggest douche handle on freaking Volador Jr. And I was not having any of it.
It is a CMLL title, but it's actually an NWA World Historic Welterweight Championship.
Oh, there you go.
And it is defended within CMLL. It's a CMLL championship. But yeah, it is the NWA welterweight championship.
What's that title in Stardom that's been disappeared since
SWA?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I don't care to ever see that come back because it's not needed. It really is.
I think it would be.
There's so many titles. There's so many titles. Yeah, and then the other story of this match was Josh Alexander and Kushida. Mm-hmm. Because on commentary, you had Scott Moore, the head of Impact Wrestling, and he talked about how this is the main event as long as Josh Alexander retains against Rich Swann. I guess this is coming out Friday the 24th. Today, as long as Josh Alexander retains today, for all you watching, on the 24th on No Surrender, he will defend the title against Kushida at Multiverse United. So this is again building for that. I don't see Josh dropping it to Rich Swann, not at this point. But these guys had this all. I guess all 4. I will say Adrian Quest and DKC and Kevin Knight were my highlights. Don't get me wrong, Volador and Mascara Dorada did some crazy shit, but because watching Kevin Knight come up in strong, watching DKC come up in strong, watching Adrian Quest these last year or two when he's been in strong, just all these guys are young and impressive. I love watching it. Kevin and Quest just going back and forth in there, dude. Quest can hit you for he's a springboard into a Rana on night. It's just gorgeous wrestling for all these guys, man.
I agree with you on most things. I have to disagree with DKC. He's not my favorite.
He's not for everybody.
Kind of reminds me of like a little bit more animated Inaba with his. I'd like him to tone it down just a little bit and focus a little bit more on the in-ring stuff. But otherwise, I agree with you completely. Kevin Knight
disagree.
Is unparalleled athlete. Volador Jr. is just one of my personal favorites. He's been one of my favorites since I spotted him on the Fantasticamania tour eons ago. I don't think Alexander's going to drop that belt to Swann, and I going on, I don't think he's going to lose to Kushida either. Kushida, very, very technical, very, very great wrestler, but just I feel like the size difference alone makes the walking weapon just way more of a weapon than
I've met Josh. I got to meet Josh about a year or two ago, just before pandemic hit. I think maybe I don't know. He was here for Real Canadian Wrestling. He was the X Division champion at the time. Dude's gigantic. Dude is a big boy, and he's only gotten thicker, and he's only gotten better since I saw him. Mm-hmm. I think he was wrestling heavy metal or MRB on the show I watched. Absolutely tremendous. He can work anybody with any style. This guy is so good. trained by one of the best in Johnny Devine.
Mhm.
But dude, this guy is so
Mhm.
good. Like so good. The end of this match though,
Mhm.
Kushida reverses the C4 into a hoverboard lock, but they're
Mhm.
not the legal men. So Knight gets in, hits Quest with a pendulum DDT, and gets the win.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Like a pendulum DDT, dude.
Mhm.
Especially his, I will shout that out for days because the way he goes up and how long his body is when he's up in the air and he kicks his legs up before he comes swinging back in,
Mhm.
it just looks so impressive because of how like tall and long he is, right? It's just
Mhm.
and it looks so good and great match with Team Kushida getting the win.
And then, of course, the follow-up afterwards to follow up more of the story with Rocky and Volador. I believe Volador challenged Rocky to a hair versus hair match. And I
Or is it
believe
hair versus title?
hair versus whatever. I mean,
No,
he's
that's
still
what
both of
I
them were
wasn't sure.
yanking on the hair. At this point, there was chaos. I didn't know what was going on.
That's what I wasn't sure about. Is it a hair versus hair? Is it hair versus title? Or is it hair versus hair and title? That's what I didn't understand. But
Regardless, Volador's hair is at risk, and as they mentioned on commentary, Volador's rate of what was the what is the word I am trying to say? His
he's won.
probability of winning
It's
this
very high.
match is
Very high.
very, very, very high because he typically doesn't lose these matches. The last match that he actually lost with a hair versus hair match was involving Matt Taven, and that was only because Matt Taven was his tag partner, and his tag partner turned on him, and they both had to shave their freaking heads. So, when you put another thing into the situation, obviously Volador has some problems, but I don't suspect that that story is going to conclude with Volador losing his hair.
No, I don't think so either. Like, dude, he's keeping that. He's keeping his hair. But absolutely phenomenal match from all these men. Like, just everybody impressing. So watching with my friends, and Andreas goes, "Is that Grand Metalik?" I'm like, "Yeah, Mascara Dorada." He's just like
This is where again WWE stop changing everyone's fracking names.
Yeah, but he was really excited to see him because like, oh, I loved him in WWE. I'm like, he's absolutely phenomenal. Lucha. But we move on to the next match of the evening. It is Fred Rosser defending the strong openweight championship against Kenta. These two, like, just brawling. Both men, they're kicking, they're striking insanely hard. Like, these two are working the epitome of the Japanese strong style in this match because both these men were just unloading with each other with the kicks and the punches. Dude, Kenta stomping on the head of Rosser, and it didn't look like he was pulling the stomp. Like, that stomp looked, I was like, like it just looked.
There were several parts of the match that looked like that. Just in general, his palm strikes also looked like he was not pulling.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring that up, dude. Those palm strike look just gross. Some of them, especially when he cracked him in the face towards the end there, dude. Dude, Rosser though, like, dude, I gotta give this guy his props, man. He's propped up this strong. He took the title from Tom Lawler, who was super hot as champion, and has only gone on to have great matches outside of the crowbar match on that Rumble that 40 Rumble the night before Rumble on 44th Street. Outside of that crowbar match, which I thought was absolutely horrendous, or was that on Rumble 44th Street? I can't remember. That crowbar match was absolutely terrible because, and again, nothing as Rosser worked his ass off in that match. It was the fact that he was wrestling a guy who should have been retired 15 years ago. And again, some guys just can't walk away from the business, and I don't want to shame a guy for still being around, but this is a guy who should have retired a long time ago. He's been having the run, and he's only got better because when he popped up on screen, Andreas goes, "Holy crap, it's Darren Young!" And I'm like, dude, he is far better than his run as Darren Young. And when he put in that cross-straight chicken wing, all Andreas could say was Bob Backlund, because again, it was he took the move when he was working with Backlund WWE, and he was like, but dude, insanely impressive.
Very good too.
Dude, he's so good. But in the end, Kenta with those palm strikes just smashing him, and then
clearly trained Mina Shirakawa on those.
And then they're doing that, and then Kenta runs Rosser into the ref. Rosser got and Rosser turns and he goes for a GTS and into SCF, or he turned the GTS into an SCF, and Kenta taps, but the ref is down, and that's a big point to this match. So he gets up. Juice Robinson comes out and hits what I thought was the left hand of God, his like insanely effective punch, but he actually had a roll of quarters in his hand.
Oh.
And one of the guys in my chat room when we were talking as we were watching this goes, "Oh, dude, I've been punched by a guy who had a roll of quarters in his hand. That actually really hurts." And I'm like, "What?" And
yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, because it prevents your fingers from absorbing some of that shock, right?
And
It's
then
almost like a brass knuckle kind of thing.
So off that shot, Kenta hits this GTS, pulls the ref over, and gets the win. New champ, and I'm sad for Rosser because a lot of people are talking about, oh, he just dropped it on this random show, but like I think they keep talking about wanting to have a different direction for Strong, and I think they want a name and a leader like Kenta to lead the new version of this brand, and I guess and giving it to Kenta gives it a new face for the new era. Not that Rosser couldn't lead the new era. I just think Kenta, that's what they're doing here. But Kenta, I think, because he's American based now, like he's been, even his runs in Japan these last couple of years, his home is still in America, and so he's over here more than he is in Japan. I think whatever they're going to do, he's going to lead this brand, and it's going to be awesome.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, thank goodness the WWE did bring him over and kind of hoop him and stuck him, his family and stuff over there, and then dropped him like those quarters that Juice had rolled up in his hand. It couldn't have worked out better for him. I mean, he has come in. I've been saying it for years since he came back. I'm like, this is Kenta's time. This is Kenta's time. This is Kenta's time. Each time I've been disappointed. Finally, it is Kenta's time. He has a title that I feel he deserves in this company. And you're absolutely right. I think that he's probably going to be the flagship of the Strong brand that kind of leads it into whatever new era that it is that they're doing. And I feel that it was a right choice because as much as, again, nothing to take away from Fred Rosser, he did very, very well in his title run. But Kenta, he's recognizable. Even though people recognize Darren Young, who are you going to recognize first, Darren Young or Hideo Itami? As Archer always says, effing Hideo. We're going to remember, Kenta. So, yeah, I think this was a great match, tremendous match. Again, Rosser did get his ish kicked in this one. But Kenta worked very, very hard. Rosser worked very, very hard. I feel that Kenta earned that title, and I'm very happy that he finally has a title because I've been saying he was going to win the U.S. title back in 2020. It's about time.
Remember, he led this brand with a briefcase. Yep. You got to remember, he had a briefcase that was essentially the championship of New Japan Strong until the title was introduced. Because even though they're in America, the champion is nowhere to be seen. So this man led this brand with a briefcase. That's how good this guy is. He can lead a brand with a briefcase. Now that he has a title, I can't wait to see what this guy does. And the thing is, you can always run over to Japan and have a great match with somebody in New Japan proper if he wants for that title too. Just to showcase it. It's always possible. So great future, I think, for New Japan Strong with whatever they're going to do. Because I don't know if there's going to be an episode next Saturday. I don't know. Because I don't know if they've got anything filmed.
I mean, usually the Strong NJPW collection game lets me know because it lets me know that I got to check in and collect my 5 tickets. So I guess we'll see on Saturday.
Yeah. Move on to the third match series for the NJPW Strong Tag Team Championships. It is Motor City Machineguns defending against the West Coast Wrecking Crew. This was set up actually on an episode of Strong You and Me previewed. That's where it was set up from a few episodes back. Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal match from these guys. Isaacs walking around ringside carrying Sabin in the suplex. Just awesome. And then drops him on the apron. Then Jorel Nelson hits a suplex to Shelley in the ring at the same time. Absolutely phenomenal. Motor City Machineguns. These guys, I remember them watching them in 2002 in Impact Wrestling, or TNA at the time. The fact that in 2023, 21 years later, these guys are still wrestling at the tremendous level that they are is absolutely amazing. But they're not, how do I say this? They're not ruining things like Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer, who are being put in main event positions in Impact Wrestling. These guys, yes, they're veterans in the business who they know their spot. Mid card, having awesome tag team matches and helping guys get over. That's what they're doing. They're doing it right. Even though they did win here, they still made Isaacs and Nelson look absolutely phenomenal in this match. But in the end, Motor City Machineguns hit the dirt bomb on Jorel Nelson and get the win. I thought great tag team match from both these teams.
I have to agree. And again, I was the same person in 2002, 2003, watching these guys on TNA, having my first real option, other than the WWE at that time. Something I don't know. Are these guys vampires or something? Because they look exactly the same now that they did then.
Shelley might look better.
And they're performing the same level as they did now versus then. It is absolutely incredible. These guys perform so well. The only thing I want to say that I didn't like was whatever the fudge muffin was, like the new outfits of the West Coast Wrecking Crew. I was not a fan.
No.
I was just getting used to the fringe, but like I understand that they're doing the filthy thing. That was not filthy. That was just like
creepy.
Dalton Castle's Peacock Boys.
Yeah, creepy.
With fringe. It was weird. It didn't look good on either of them. And they didn't match their other accessories. They just kind of looked like they got it and they're like, yeah, we found this at a thrift shop. We're going to throw it on. But I will say I like the color. I mean, obviously I'm a fan of purple. But match-wise, I actually, again, very, very impressed by Senior Fringe, Mr. Royce Isaacs there. Incredible strength, incredible talent. I always forget the other one's name.
Jorel Nelson.
Nelson, right. He did very well in this match. I was actually very, very impressed. He's not my favorite of the pairing, but like this match, it brought out the absolute best in him. And it showed me why these guys are a good tag team together. Again, they're not my favorite tag team, but they impressed me so much that they could hang so well with the champions. This isn't going to be their last bout. I mean, Isaacs is tall enough. I'm sure if he put his arm up and just dangled Shelley by it, he'd be like sitting there like kicking his feet.
Probably.
But yeah,
definitely saving for sure.
These guys at one point, I thought that I think it was Shelley. He got rocked by something, and he's just standing there like dazed in the lights. I was like, that was a great sell. Everything about this was just, it was really, really good. I really, really enjoyed this match.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. And the Motor City Machineguns retaining, again, I think it's what should happen. I think they're going to build eventually to the West Coast Wrecking Crew taking the belts, but I don't think it was the right time quite yet.
Correct. I think they want to establish a little bit more of a solidity in that one, because if you keep giving up the titles like right away, it starts to devalue those titles very, very quickly.